Alright, so this is the first time that I'm filming a video like this. I normally do vlogs, but I kind of just felt compelled to make this video. And I also don't want to restrict myself to only making one type of content because I feel like there's no point. Like, I like making the vlogs. It doesn't mean that I'm gonna stop making the vlogs. They're very fun to make, and I like filming stuff about my life, even though it's, I don't have a lot going on. So that kind of content won't stop, but I have been having these feelings arise for a while, really, and they've just now like come back or resurfaced, and I felt like it would be nice to talk about it because the topic is one that has to relate to not really having anyone to talk to. But I wanted to talk about this feeling of loneliness or not being included that I've had since like 10th grade, really. I'm a junior now in high school, and around 10th grade I was with a different guy than I am now, and I was only really friends with his friends. I mean, I had a couple of friends outside of that, but at the time, the only people that I talked to on the daily were him and his two friends. And after we split up, I kind of stopped talking to them, and they really just stopped talking to me, and so I really didn't have that many people that I talked to at all. But in 10th grade, we had like this sophomore week thing, and it's pretty much where we went on field trips. And when I went on these field trips, I didn't really talk to anyone on them, and I saw people that I used to talk to quite often, that I, thought I was still friends with. And I am friends with them, but we're not like really close. And I would see them talking to their other friends, and nobody really sought me out to talk to, so I just felt incredibly lonely and isolated during that period. And I posted a YouTube video during that time. I posted a vlog, and I talked about briefly at the end of the video how I felt. I talked about how I was feeling and said that if anyone else, related to that, then just know that they aren't alone. And recently, I thought the feeling was going away. Over summer, I didn't really talk to any of those people either, and I never went anywhere. Nobody ever invited me anywhere, and I would go to Instagram and I would see people going places with their friends, and I just felt, lonely and felt like I wasn't like them or anything like that. Eventually I started, my junior year, I thought that feeling was going away because those same people that weren't talking to me, they said hi and stuff like that, and I thought that, they would want to go out of their way to talk to me, but it's just that recently I felt like people, and not even just recently, it was back in 10th grade too, I felt like people that I am friends with go and seek out other people to talk to, and if I'm in a room with somebody else that they know, they're going to go talk to that person first 90% of the time, and I'm just going to be left standing or sitting there. And around the beginning of junior year, I didn't really talk to those people that much, even though they had said hi to me and stuff like that. And that feeling settled back in again, especially seeing other people talk to their friends. And after they had been friends with these people for a year or 2 years, but the people that I had been friends with for a year or 2 years just weren't talking to me, and they were talking to other people. And so I felt left out, as time progressed and I got with a different guy that I'm with now, he has a lot of friends, and so I'm like constantly talking to people, and I'm constantly around people because when I'm around him, I'm around his friends. So I felt like that feeling, that feeling of loneliness and isolation being, like, not included, I felt like it was going away. Because I was constantly around people, but I still go on, Instagram and social media, and I see people post with their friends. In conversations, people will talk about, like, group chats and stuff that I'm not in, and it's, and there'll be conversations about experiences that a group has had that I wasn't there for, and you know, you really, it really sinks in. You really remember the fact that, you know, people don't include you and stuff when those types of um, topics of conversation arise when you're talking to a group of people. You know, if you've been on my channel or you've, you know, seen my videos for a while, you know that I'm a really big, I journal a lot. I'm really big on journaling. I started to journal about, very trivial things, in my opinion. Um, Things that didn't really speak to my current emotional distress, and I started to ignore, you know, my true feelings almost, because as I started to be around this group of people constantly, I thought that that feeling of loneliness was going away, even though it would arise every time I saw a post of somebody out with their friends or out with people I know and I wasn't invited or something like that. I just started to ignore it because I never really addressed it in my journal. I never really talked about it with myself, and so I subconsciously put it out of my mind and just said, oh, like that feeling will pass, but it's something that keeps arising to the point where I feel like there's no reason for me to continue ignoring it. So I sat down for the first time yesterday and actually journaled about those issues that I was having with loneliness, and I just thought about making this video. And I was finally able to see like how much this has caused me discomfort, especially over, you know, the fact that it's been over like a year and I'm still feeling the same way that I am. And this kind of brings me into my next point about this movie that I watched. I don't know when I watched it the first time, but I rewatched it. I rewatched it yesterday. It's called Speak. It was made in 2004. And I'm pretty sure, I know there's a book that goes along with it, but I haven't read the book, and I do want to read the book. But it's basically about a girl who got R-worded at a party, and she called the cops at the party because she was freaking out, and it crashed the party. Her friends that she was there with didn't like her anymore after that because they thought that she crashed it for no reason, and she's really been struggling to tell people about her experience. She hasn't told anyone. I was rewatching the movie, and the first time that I watched it, it was during a time where I was feeling that loneliness, but the second time through, it felt a lot more poetic, and it spoke to me a lot more, honestly, no pun intended. I really think I relate to her, even though I haven't been through something like that, knock on wood. Just not being able to, just feeling isolated and alone. She gets bullied at school, and I don't get bullied at school, but I do have like self-esteem issues and stuff. I think her and the way that she finds comfort through art and creation, and her other hobbies, the fact that she kind of is able to cope with being alone, and just the fact that she is alone at school, to be honest, is very relatable for me. I'm surprised I haven't like cried. I'm surprised I haven't like cried. I'm surprised I didn't cry after I watched the movie the second time. I nearly did, but it didn't happen. I just went to go get food. I wanted to talk about the movie because of how much I relate to its plots and the character that we follow. I think it's worthy also to talk about The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which is another book movie where I've only watched the movie and I haven't read the book. Charlie, our character that we follow in The Perks of Being a Wallflower, talks about how he felt like nobody ever really noticed him, and he didn't really have friends when he got to school. I think, especially when it comes to the fact that I had friends, you know, that I constantly talked to, and then after a while, like, I would maybe stop talking to those people. After I kind of stopped talking to those people, you know, I started talking to a different crowd of people, and then eventually I stopped talking to anyone. Like, I feel like that sudden change, you know, will speak to a person, really. And watching these movies, it's really comforting to know that, you know, there might be people out there that feel the same way that I do. And it's also nice to see, like, representation in film and stuff like that, and books and all that. So in terms of my self-esteem issues, like I feel like I'm always self-conscious about how I look and how I walk, and down to like what my face looks like, how my hair sits when I walk in a room. When we get to school in the mornings, we have to go to the gym, and all of the people that just got to school are in the gym, like from all grades, and so there's people sitting all in the bleachers, and I have to walk from the gym entrance over to where the bleachers are for the juniors to sit at. And dude, when I tell you that walk is the most nerve-wracking thing known to man. I mean, you walk in there and it just feels like there's thousands of eyes staring at you. Or when I walk into public and I'm walking through a store or something, and I just look around at all these people, and they might not even be looking at me, but it feels like they are, and it really just inhibits me from being myself or feeling free. Honestly, I am constantly worried about what other people are thinking about me, or what they're thinking about when they look at me, and what I look like and things like that. It really causes self-esteem issues for me, and I feel like on top of me feeling lonely, these self-esteem issues and feeling like I'm being looked at by 1,000 pairs of eyes, it also just influences how isolated I feel from everyone else that's around me. So that kind of brings me into my next point about this song that I've really loved for a while now, but I just now looked up the lyrics because when I listen to the song I can't really understand what she's saying, I'm not gonna lie. So I've just been listening to it, because I don't really mind when I don't know the lyrics to songs. It doesn't change the way that the song sounds for me. But I looked up the lyrics because the title of the song is The Thrill of Loneliness. It's by Hannah Stratton. And, with what I'm currently going through, I thought that this song is... Whoa, my laptop just glitched. I thought that because I'm currently going through some sort of... I'm dealing with loneliness and isolation, I thought that I should look up the lyrics to the song because it's one of my favorites. And so the lyrics I picked out towards the end of the song read, "The thrill of my loneliness charms. I seem to be the only tree to wash my branches in the sea." And I feel like that can attribute some sort of positivity to, this, how to cope with these feelings of loneliness. It really highlights how you are going to be there for yourself through everything, no matter what happens. Talking about how she's, she's this one lonely thing that the only thing that's able to, wash off her arms, her limbs, in the water, and talked about how she's going to be there for herself through everything. The title of the song is The Thrill of Loneliness, so attributing loneliness to being something that's positive. So it kind of relates to, if you've ever played or seen the game Undertale, saying that despite everything, it's still you. Even if people come and go in your life, you're still going to be there for yourself. It's still going to be you who sits there and washes your hair, and it's still going to be you who holds yourself, when you're sobbing or crying. You're going to be there for yourself through the end, even if these people come in your life and they talk to you and they're friends with you for a little bit and then they go, you're still going to be there. And there's going to be time periods where you might go through some period of loneliness or isolation, but just remember that you're not alone because you're there for yourself. I think that as long as you don't lose yourself, you'll never be alone.